Alright folks, I'm going to be rebuilding this clutch master cylinder on the RF. This is the rebuild kit. Alright, so now I'm going to use the syringe to siphon off all the fluid.
There's also been some sequence
Okay, now I'm going to loosen up those bolts here, which will allow me lifting this a little bit. It's going to just going to be easier to work on. The little nut at the bottom comes off first. So the nut is off, and that will allow lifting this off. Now the lever comes off, and what I'm going to have to do now is pull out this rubber, and if I tear it I don't really care because I've got a new one in the rebuild kit, so that doesn't worry me. There we go, so that's the old rubber. Okay, so next you need to remove that little circlip there. There we go. So as you can see, the circlip comes out, and just behind it there's going to be that washer. So time now to remove that piston. I'm going to grab it with my pliers. Okay, so next element there to remove is going to be that rubber. The remains of fluid coming out, so obviously have your rags ready. So here it is that rubber cap. And finally the last element is going to be that spring there. Here we have it. Okay, I'm now going to try to capture it from inside. So as you can see, it's all empty. That's the cylinder. Fairly clean inside actually. And now I'm just going to put new piston, new seals, new spring in there. So here we have, peeps, that's the new spring with this rubber cap on it, and camera probably doesn't show it, but I've put a tiny little amount of rubber grease on this outer surface of this cap to help it slide in the cylinder. So that goes in like that. Alright, simply goes in like that. Okay, so the next part is the piston with the seal also very slightly lubed. Alright, so I've put some grease on this piston here, and that should hold that bloody washer in place. And now let's just put the piston back in. Alright, that sits in. The circlip just about to go in. What you're doing is the rounder edge is going towards the piston and the sharper edge is going towards you. Let's hope it's gonna go in. So it's snapped in place, and the best way to confirm it is taking a pick like that and just trying to move it in its groove. You see? It sits in there. There we go. Alright, so now time to install this dust seal, or rubber boot if you will. So it goes in like that, into that hole. And what's going to be beneficial is using of a thin and long flat screwdriver to get it seated there in its groove. All greased up. Let's put it in. So obviously you're trying to aim this pin inside there. There we go. And so finally I'm gonna put the little nut underneath it. Alright, that'll do for now. I'm gonna lock it in a second. Folks, so that is done. Now it's time to bleed the system. As you can see, I've got fresh fluid there, but I'm not going to do it the traditional way, which is pumping the lever and releasing the fluid and air here from the valve. I'm going to do it using this super smart little tool, which is then plugged into my air compressor, and that's going to make this job a whole lot easier. So what's going to happen is I'm going to press that lever here, which is going to start sucking the air for the system, and because that reservoir is plugged in here to the valve, by pumping here at the top, it's just going to suck all the fluid through easily with no problem. Now pay attention how quickly the fluid disappears. Okay, so once again, just pay attention to how efficiently this sucks all the fluid. Okay, so now, this was literally 30 seconds of doing it. Now I'm going to unplug the tool and close the valve. That's great. Now I'm going to pump it a few times to build the pressure in the system. Squeeze the lever. And I'm just going to make sure that the last few bubbles of air are expelled from the system. I can now already feel the lever getting nice and firm. And as you can see by looking at the hose, there's no air bubbles whatsoever. And I'm just getting the nice and clean fluid. Now the cap goes back on. And that's job done.